11:90 a.m. in New York. We're streaming to you across the country on a number of platforms, including Facebook, National Action Network, our website, and YouTube. We are live right here in National Action Network's headquarters, the House of Justice, 106 West 145th Street. Call somebody. Tell them the action is on the air. The Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton is in the house and getting ready to come to you. We are so pleased that you are with us on this Saturday morning, because if it's Saturday and you hear the cry, no justice, no peace, you know this is where the action is. Our president and founder is the Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton. The chairman of our board is the Reverend Dr. W. Franklin Richardson, senior pastor of Grace Baptist Church in Mount Vernon, New York. I'm attorney Michael Hardy. Will be with you throughout the broadcast this morning. We are so pleased to have with us today for our inspirational word segment this morning from the Reverend Greg Merriweather, the senior pastor of Calvary Baptist Church in the great county of Rockland, New York. Of course, if it's Saturday, our musical director, Minister Tyrone Richardson, is in the house and getting ready along with the choir and the band. And if it's Saturday, we will be here to ask you what is on your mind. And so you want to be ready for all of that this morning. And of course, the Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton is in the house. So you want to call somebody. You want to tell them the action is on the air. The Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton is in the house and getting ready to come to you. Brothers and sisters, we always remind you that the NAN Youth Huddle will meet on Monday, May 20th at the House of Justice Auditorium. We want you to spread the word, get into the action with our youngest and brightest dreamers of today and leaders of tomorrow. For more information on the NAN Youth Huddle experience, you can call us at 877-626-4651, 877-626-4651, or you can email nanyouthhuddle@gmail.com. Okay, today is Saturday, tomorrow's Sunday. 5 o'clock today, Saturday, 5 p.m. tomorrow, Sunday. You want to make sure that you are tuning in to MSNBC's Politics Nation with Al Sharpton. That is today, Saturday at 5 p.m., tomorrow, Sunday at 5 p.m. You want to make sure that you are tuning in to MSNBC's Politics Nation with Al Sharpton. Right now, brothers and sisters, our sister Jay Halir Spencer is going to come and give us some on-air announcements. Let's give her a welcome.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. During the Saturday Action Rally, we have a segment here called What's on Your Mind? We invite you to email us at whatsonyourmind@nationalactionnetwork.net or call us live at 877-626-4651 to share with us a brief account of what issues are concerning you most that you want the broader community to be aware of. We invite you to call us, email us, what's on your mind today. The NAN Youth Huddle will meet on Monday, May 20th at the House of Justice Auditorium. Spread the word and get into the action with our youngest and brightest dreamers of today and leaders of tomorrow. For more information on the Youth Huddle experience, you can call us at 877-626-4651 or email nanyouthhuddle@gmail.com. Tune in to MSNBC's Politics Nation with Al Sharpton every Saturday and Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time live on MSNBC. Good morning, and thank you again for tuning in for our listeners and viewers to another Saturday Action Rally with National Action Network. Here is some information to keep you in the know. Prayer Vigil for Haiti. Rev. Sharpton and National Action Network are teaming up with New York City faith leaders for an essential prayer vigil and rally for Haiti. On May 30th, NAN, Rev. Sharpton, and leaders will convene at the Evangelical Crusade Christian Church in Brooklyn to address the dire situation in Haiti and why the U.S. must do more to help. Gangs are still controlling most of the capital city and its surrounding areas, and they continue to attack the population, police stations, and elsewhere with no regard for the destruction they cause. Hundreds of thousands have already been displaced, and countless civilians are in need of urgent assistance. Rev. Sharpton has continuously called on the U.S. government to investigate the flow of American guns trafficked to Haiti and to do more to help stem the violence. On May 30th, Rev. Sharpton will deliver special remarks in Brooklyn along with New York elected officials and faith leaders. In March, NAN's tireless leader led a press conference at City Hall along with Mayor Eric Adams, several council members, Haitian faith and community leaders, and others to discuss how New York City and its Haitian community can respond to the deepening humanitarian crisis. More information on the upcoming prayer vigil and rally for Haiti will be available at nationalactionnetwork.net. 2 years since the Buffalo Massacre, this week marked the 2-year anniversary of the horrific racist shooting at a Tops grocery store in Buffalo, New York, that killed 10 Black people. A white nationalist targeted the predominantly Black neighborhood, devastating an entire community. Rev. Sharpton had delivered the eulogy for several of the victims, and National Action Network helped distribute food in the area as the main grocery store was shut down in the aftermath of the horrendous attack. DEI must remain. DEI must remain. For the 19th week in a row, National Action Network led the fight for the preservation of diversity, equity, and inclusion. With yet another demonstration, each and every Thursday, NAN and supporters picket outside the Midtown Manhattan office of hedge fund billionaire Bill Ackman, who was behind the vicious smear campaign against former Harvard President Claudine Gay, and who has targeted DEI as well. It has been months of sustained protests, and NAN has no plans of stopping anytime soon. DEI. Each week, demonstrators chant in unison, when DEI is under attack, what do? Stand up, fight back. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. Rev. Sharpton, Rev. Ronald McHenry, NAN, and a board coalition of demonstrators gather each Thursday at noon outside of Ackman's office to call attention to his attacks against DEI. There are currently rollbacks in academia, Wall Street, Congress, corporate America, and virtually everywhere. In other words, our hard-fought gains are under attack in every aspect of society. Nan is leading the charge to fight for DEI, and every Thursday, that lands right outside Bill Ackman's office. Welcome to all of you who have tuned in and joined us via live stream at www.nationalactionnetwork.net and also live on Facebook at National Action Network. If this is your first time joining us, and or if you are not a member of NAN, we welcome you to join NAN. And if you are invited to join us and get into the action today, for more information and to join, you may visit www.National Action Network. Call 877-626-4651 or text the word NAN to 59769. DEI, when we are under attack, what do? Stand up, fight back.
All right, thank you, Jay. Right now, brothers and sisters, it's that time. Our dear sister Nancy Darlene Crawford is here to ask you what's on your mind. Good morning.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, National Action Network family. Are we feeling good today? All right, all right. Welcome to another weekly segment of What's on Your Mind, where you, the community and community-based and our members, share with us your thoughts of what's on your mind. Good morning. Tell us your name and briefly share one thought of what's on your mind.
Good morning, Nan. I'm Dr. Jesse Fields, Harlem physician. What's on my mind is racial disparities, not only in health and in Black maternal health, but also in fairness and in constitutional and civil rights in this country. In the long-standing history still going on today of breaking up Black families and separating Black children from their families, currently and in New York by the Administration of Child Services, ACS, and the so-called Child Protective Services. Black families are disproportionately investigated, have their children removed, and parental rights terminated. Black children are more likely to be in foster care placement than to receive in-home services in similarly situated white counterparts situations. They're targeted. Black children are separated from their families at higher rates and remain in foster care longer. Poverty alone does not account for these racial disparities. These practices are being exposed and challenged and fought against, and Black families supported by advocates like Joyce McMillan and others who are here today. I put information on the table. The Child Protective Services and ACS are hurting Black women, children, and families. We need a movement to fight for their civil rights. No justice, no peace. I want to introduce Joyce McMillan, who's here to speak.
Good morning. Tell us your name and briefly share one thought of what's on your mind.
My name is Joyce McMillan, and what's on my mind is protecting the Constitution for Black and brown people throughout New York. So the Administration for Children's Services, based on the last data that I have, went into 56,000 Black homes in New York City alone without a court order. We are asking that families be Mirandized when they enter someone's home. And there's a bill sponsored by Senator Jabari Bridgeport and Assemblywoman Latrice Walker, bill number S901/A1980. I will tell you quickly, paint a picture for you. We talk about the pipeline from foster care to prison. See this. When children are removed from their home, they are separated from everyone and everything they know and love, just as prisoners are. They have set visit times on set visit days like prisoners. They have oversight during the visit like prisoners. They change homes more often than prisoners change cells. They both use garbage bags and pillowcases to do so. If they are given back to their parents, they are paroled, the same language they use in the prison industrial complex. There is no difference between the two. There's oversight during that parole period. What I am asking is that we support this legislation, because the Fourth Amendment is being violated to get into people's homes, and we are pipelining children to prison for the purposes of having slaves in this country under the 13th Amendment. So I'm asking that we please stop the pipeline that we all know exists.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you. And that information, Dr. Fields, you said is on the back table. Okay, so if you need further information, you can go to the back table and obtain that there. Hi, good morning. Tell us your name and briefly share one thought of what's on your mind.
Good morning. My name is Michelle D. Winfield. I'm a member of NAN. And I went to the Whole Foods at West 125th Street. And I requested to use the bathroom. I was told to go across the street to Marshall's. I have been to Whole Foods all over Manhattan, and it is only in Harlem that I was refused to use the bathroom. I say to you, I insisted and I insisted until I used the facilities. Harlem, Nan, I need you there. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning. Tell us your name and briefly share one thought of what's on your mind.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tanisha Grant. I am the Executive Director of Parents Support and Parents New York, and we are also partners of JMAC for Family. What's on my mind is the family Miranda rights. For 3-4 years, we have been going to Albany every year and talking to our state officials about passing this bill. I want to share with you briefly what it looks like when families don't know their Miranda rights. I'm 48 years old. I was separated from my family at birth. I spent my first 3 weeks in Lincoln Hospital by myself. I've been by myself all my life. I had to raise 3 kids. Not only does it affect me, but it affects my children. Not only did I not have no family, but my children had no family. I found my mother last year. Come to find out, she had 7 children. I was the only one she gave away. All these years, she's been living right in the Bronx. I met her I found her 7 months ago, but she has repressed the memory of me because of what ACS did, and I still have not met her. It is generational trauma. It is a legacy of slavery. We need you all to help keep our families together and to advocate for family Miranda rights. If my mother would have known her rights when she had me, maybe it would have been a different story. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you to everyone that shared today your viewpoints of what's on your mind. We ask that you please keep in mind everything you heard here today was simply the viewpoints of the contributors and do not reflect National Action Network. Thank you so much for tuning in. Back to you, Attorney Hardy.
All right, thank you for this week's segment of What's on Your Mind. Right now, brothers and sisters, our Nan Change soloist, Tisha Hunter.
The splendor of a king, clothed in majesty. He's one in all the earth. He's one in all the earth. He wraps himself in light, and darkness tries to hide. They tremble at his voice. They tremble at his voice, yeah. How great is our God. Sing with me, how great is our God. Oh, we see how great is our God. Come on and sing with me, how great. Sing it with me, how great.
Letitia Hunter, our Nan Chain soloist, all under the direction, of course, of our musical director, Minister Tyrone Richardson. Right now, brothers and sisters, we are so pleased to have with us today a national civil rights attorney from the great state of Oklahoma. He has led the fight for reparation of the victims of the Tulsa, Oklahoma riots and the destruction of Tulsa's Black Wall Street. He is attorney Demario Solomon Simmons. Let's welcome.
No justice, no peace. Good morning, Harlem, the black mecca of the world. I'm attorney Demario Solomon Simmons. Law is my ministry, justice is my passion. And I stand in front of you all the way from Greenwood, Oklahoma, the Black Wall Street of America. You know, I'm so excited anytime I can be here in Harlem with my Nan family. I feel so at home here every time I come here, and I look right here on the right-hand side of the wall and see that picture of the time when Reverend Al came down and marched through the streets of Tulsa with us back in 2016. I want to give a special shout out to Attorney Michael Harding. Yes, give it up for him. The brother is going strong. Dominique Sharpton, and obviously my mentor and our leader, the great Reverend Al Sharpton. And I have just 3 points I want to discuss with you today. One, I want to give you an update on where we are in our Tulsa Race Massacre litigation. Two, I want to tell you about a new national campaign and partnership we have with Lush Cosmetics that you can help out with. And three, I want to talk to you about our Justice for Black Creek Indian campaign that Reverend Sharpton and Nan is going to join this fight. So since the last time I was here back in October, I was telling you that we had our case dismissed by our district courts, and we were moving forward to ask the Oklahoma Supreme Court to give us a hearing and to reverse the erroneous and unjust decision by Judge Caroline Wall in the Tulsa County District Courts. Well, I have good news. I want to tell you that not only did they accept our appeal, but on April 2nd, we had an oral argument in front of the Oklahoma Supreme Court, and we did fantastic. Yes, let me tell you, we had a packed courtroom from people from all over the nation. We had our two living survivors that was still there. That is 109-year-old Leslie Benefield Randall. Give it up for 109-year-old Leslie Benefield Randall. And then we also had, at the time, 109-year-old Viola Ford Fletcher. We call her Mother Fletcher. But I want to tell you, on May 10th, Pastor, on May 10th, we went to Frisco, Texas, and we celebrated Mother Fletcher's 110th birthday party. 110. And she says, I am still here fighting for justice. I am not going anywhere until I get justice. And when you have that type of spirit from a client that's 110 years old, it makes it easier to go against the odds, obstacles, and opposition that we face every day as black people in this country. So I need you all to continue to pray that we get 5 out of 9 justices that will give us the right to move forward. We need 5 out of how many? 9. We need 5 out of 9. If we get those 5 people to say we have a chance to move this case forward, we will continue to make history and get the reparations and the repair that we deserve as a people in this country. Secondly, I want to quickly tell you about a national partnership that we have with Lush Cosmetics, and they have stores here in New York. On May 31st will be the 103rd anniversary of the Tulsa Race Massacre, and we have created a mini documentary about our work. We're going to premiere that documentary in Tulsa on May 31st, but on June 1st, you all can watch that documentary if you go to www.greenwoodisburning.org. greenwoodisburning.org. I want you all to join with us, sign up to our newsletter, send your prayers in, and if you even want to send a donation to us, because this work costs both in time, emotions, and guess what? In money. The third thing I want to talk to you about as I get ready to take my seat is our Justice for Black Creek Indian campaign. How many of you guys knew that there were black Indians here in America when Columbus got here? That's absolutely. I am one of them. You're looking at one of them. How many of y'all knew that there was black Indians on the Trail of Tears when we were marched out of our traditional homelands in the southeast United States of America? How many of y'all know that black Indians and Creeks of African descent were enslaved by the Native American nations? Yes, enslaved, chattel slavery, as they adopted the European-style economy, a plantation economy. Well, after this enslavement, and we got our freedom in 1866 due to the Treaty of 1866, which my four-time great-grandfather negotiated and signed, one of 5 people, that ended enslavement. Someone mentioned the 13th Amendment. It ended enslavement. It gave us citizenship and the right to vote and benefits. But since 1979, with the assistance of the United States government, the Creek Nation has stolen our citizenship. They have restricted us from voting, and they've stolen millions of dollars in benefits from us each and every year, including, I heard the doctor here in Harlem talk about health disparities. Did you know as a Creek citizen, we will get free health care, but the United States is allowing the Creek Nation to take that away from us. I had a conversation just on Thursday with Michael and Reverend Al, and Reverend Al said he's all in on this fight now. He's all in on this fight now. We're going to take this fight straight to the Biden administration and ask the Biden-Harris administration to stop this anti-black Jim Crow discrimination. So I have one other thing to say before I sit down. Justice for Greenwood. Justice for Greenwood. Justice for Greenwood. Thank you.
All right. We want to thank Attorney Demario Solomon Simmons for that update on Oklahoma. The Change Ensemble.
I really love you because you first loved me. I really love you, yes I do. Help me say, I really love you because you first me. I really love you. I really love you. It's all of my heart, Jesus. I really love you. Because you first me. I really love you. I really love you. How can you love me knowing all the things I've done? And then you show me when you gave your only son. I really love you.
it was our musical director, Minister Tyrone Richardson, accompanied by the Change Ensemble. Brothers and sisters, I'm going to have our dear brother Ron McHenry come and give us a brief in the house segment.
I was glad when they said unto me, come into the house of the Lord. There is no better place where healing happens. And I'm glad to be here in the house of justice, of where a people that fight for justice exist. There is this fight in our hands in this nation and today where our voting rights have been stripped. Affirmative action has been stripped. All of the marvelous speeches that Dr. King gave in the 60s means nothing if laws were not passed. But the laws that were passed in the 60s are now eroded today. Coretta Scott King said this, that every generation, freedom is not given to you, but you must earn it. You must fight for it. Unfortunately, the fight is on our hands. So I employ all of those that can hear the sound of my voice, all of those that are here in the audience, to join us every Thursday. Why? Because DEI is under attack, which is the child of affirmative action. Now, why is DEI important? Touch your neighbor and say diversity. Say equity. And say an inclusion. Diversity, equity, and inclusion is important because places that we traditionally shopped at in history didn't serve our community. So DEI was a measure put in place that places that we went would have to serve us. We are seeing all kinds of attacks on our black history, attacks on our voting rights, and attacks on affirmative action. So let us stand up and fight this fight in the streets. Let's fight this fight in the courts. Join me every Thursday, 787 11th Avenue. No justice. No peace. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it?
Now. All right. Reverend Ron McHenry, our coordinator here at the House of Justice. Brothers and sisters, we are indeed honored today to have with us for this morning some remarks hailing from the 13th District in the great borough of Queens, the State Senator Jessica Ramos.
All right, I'm a little shorter. Buenos dias, everyone. Buenos dias. I do bring love and greetings from Jackson Heights, Queens, my hometown. I'm New York State Senator Jessica Ramos. I have been chairing the Labor Committee in the New York State Senate for the past 6 years, and it has been an incredible passion project for me, coming from the labor movement, but just coming from the streets that raised me. You know, I grew up in Jackson Heights at a time that the Daily News had dubbed my hometown the cocaine capital of the world. Our Colombian cartels were killing each other along Roosevelt Avenue. And then just across the street on Northern Boulevard, our East Elmhurst community was suffering the crack epidemic at the same time. That was the Queens that raised me. And that was where I really saw that my mission and my call was to make a difference in the way our economy responds to our needs. And I decided that I would embark on a journey in the labor movement to see how I could make sure that kids like me and our elders had good union jobs that allowed them to not only survive in the city of New York, but to thrive. What we want to do is for our children to have a better future than we ever had. So whether your family came here by force or by choice, we stand here together as a black and brown community asking for what we deserve. We deserve better. And today I want to talk actually precisely about one of society's greatest ills that we talk about very often, but we still struggle to win the policies and the solutions that will help us address the violence of poverty in our communities. You know, just yesterday, Comptroller Tom DiNapoli released a report that confirmed a deeply troubling trend. More than 2.7 million New Yorkers are living in poverty. and more than a quarter of those people are children. Almost half of all children living in poverty in our state live in deep poverty, meaning they come from families that are living 50% below the federal poverty line. That's really hard to comprehend today and age, how poor that can be in the era of technology, of abundance, in the era of 135 billionaires making bank in New York State every day. You know, this gap is widening since before the pandemic, which only accelerated the social evil. While child poverty decreased everywhere else in the country, New York continues to leave our working families behind. And I want to be clear, allowing children to live without their basic needs is a choice, and the wrong choice. We can do better. We can lift our families from the bottom, because by caring for our children, we are lifting up their parents and our communities out of poverty. We can do so in a way that heals our generational wounds. It's much easier to build strong children than it is to heal broken men. That was said by a great New Yorker named Frederick Douglass. I know you've heard that one before, and it still holds true today. Because things have gotten so dire that we need to build a caring economy that does both. You know, in 2022, Governor Hochul signed My Child Poverty Reduction Act, which created a task force whose job it is to recommend and develop policies that are going to cut child poverty in half by 2032. That is the goal. Their agenda, of course, includes universal child care and universal school meals, things we know close the baby word gap and help with physical and cognitive development of our children, but it also includes recommendations on housing, wage standards, and investments for their parents. Last year, when I was fighting to raise and index the minimum wage as the chair of the Labor Committee, the New York Times reported that Black families are leaving New York at a much higher rate than any other group. While the current Black unemployment rate is falling by historical standards, it's still outpacing the national average. The promise of going to school, working hard, and buying a house so you can build generational wealth in this country is growing more and more elusive. This is why I fight so hard for expanding union opportunities for communities like yours and mine. Those of us who have been redlined, sent to underfunded and overcrowded schools, and pushed to environmental justice communities where our houses get flooded and we can barely afford to replace the boiler to keep us warm in the winter, should be at the forefront of the line for union climate jobs for the family-sustaining careers of the future. That's right, that money should be ours in our community. This budget cycle, I secured $11 million in workforce development and pre-apprenticeship programs, $3 million for the Cannabis Workforce Initiative, $500,000 for apprenticeships in the healthcare workforce, and $2.5 million for Youth Build NYC, so we can provide jobs for our young people, keep them off the streets, and set them on the path to success. Wealth gaps like the one we're experiencing in New York now only exist when we have a system that sees people as disposable. And we see it every day at companies like Amazon, where we are fighting for those warehouses not to be designed for the comfort of the boxes that get filled, but for the bodies and the people, and especially the Black and brown women who pack those boxes in those Amazon warehouses, where we're seeing injury rates skyrocket more than ever before, 25% higher than the national average here in New York State. That's what Amazon doesn't want you to know. But the truth, and we know what the truth is, not one single human being, not you or me, none of us are disposable. We are human beings who deserve to thrive, who deserve to be provided with the tools and the knowledge to get our families out of poverty and create the generational wealth we've been dreaming of for so long in this country, that we have toiled, we have sweat, we have bled for this country to be what it is today. So I want you to join me in helping me build an economy that rebuilds the middle class to look like us. To rebuild the middle class from the ground up so that it lifts us all, starting with our most vulnerable, so that none of our children will ever be hungry again. Thank you for having me this morning. I want to thank the Reverend Al Sharpton and the incredible work that is done here at the National Action Network. It really is God's work, and I am hoping that our journey together will continue ever so long. Thanks for having me.
I want to thank State Senator Jessica Ramos for those statements. The musical director, Minister Tyrone Richardson.
Running for a long time. Your time is winding up. You better make up your mind. It's getting late in the evening. The sun is going down. You better get it right, while he may be found. I wanna know who's on the Lord's side. I wanna know who's on the Lord's side. I wanna know why. Who's on the Lord's side? Who's on the Lord's side? I'm on the Lord's side. I'm on the Lord's side. You gotta work. For the night is coming, you can't turn your way. Oh, sinner, I wonder what will you do? You better choose this day, because tomorrow, I wanna know who's on the Lord's side. I wanna know who's on the Lord's side. I wanna know. Who's on the Lord's side? I'm on the Lord's side. I'm on the Lord's side. Get up! If you're on the Lord's side, get up! Get up! If you're on the Lord's side, get up! Get up! If you're on the Lord's side, I'm on the Lord's side.
Our musical director, Minister Tyrone Richardson. Brothers and sisters, it is indeed again an honor today to have for our inspirational word. He comes to us from Rockland County, Senior Pastor of Calvary Baptist Church, the Honorable Reverend Greg Merriweather. Let's welcome.
To all God's children, you, and you, especially to our founder and president, Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton, and our chairman of the board, Reverend Dr. W. Franklin Richardson. Word of the Lord coming from Luke 5, chapter 5, verse 1 through 5. It says this: "And it came to pass that the people pressed upon him to hear the word of God. He stood by the lake of Gennesaret and saw two ships standing by the lake. But the fishermen were gone out of them and were washing their nets. And he entered into one of the ships, which was Simon's, and prayed him that he would thrust him from the land. He sat down, taught the people out of the ship. Now, when he had left speaking, he said unto Simon, launch out into the deep, let down your nets for a draught. And Simon answered, saying, Master, we've toiled all night long and have taken nothing. Nevertheless, at thy word, I will let down the net. For these minutes and moments, I want to talk to you from this subject. Don't be distracted by discouragement. Let's pray. God, and we are grateful to be here. Bless us in these minutes and moments for your glory and for our good. In Jesus' name, amen. I think we all know somebody that never met and lived up to their potential. As a matter of fact, this world is full of people that have never discovered what they could fully, truly be. We call them ships that never sail. See, some ships never sail because they're cut short on the shore before they're able to launch out, such as 23-year-old airman Roger Fortson, who was killed in Atlanta earlier this month. See, some ships never sail because they are cut short on the shore, but some ships never sail because they're afraid of leaving the shore. And Jesus finds these abandoned ships that were meant to sail but stuck on the shores, because after all, ships don't sail themselves, which means it's possible that we have what we need to fight, to thrive, and to make it, and perhaps God needs to guide us and instruct us how to better use our resources. And I need somebody here to know that it's all right to move by faith, but sometimes you got to go even if you are afraid. Jesus, he approaches and uses the pulpit as the ship, and he begins to preach to people who would love to hear the liberating gospel. And watch this, it's here in the text that Jesus asked one more time that if you would push from the shore. It's the second request that Simon honors and answers for the first time. And he responds by saying, Master, we have toiled all night. And I need to talk to somebody who can admit and understand that you have gone through moments of discouragement in your life where you just didn't want to keep going. And sometimes even fighting for other people can be tiring at times. Come on, somebody. Jesus, he's calling the first of his disciples, but he's calling them at the height of their discouragement and despair. They are cleaning their nets. They have abandoned their ships, and they've spent time with nothing to show for what they've done. And here it is, Jesus is asking them to do something they've done many times before, one more time. Come on, somebody say one more time. Even if you've made up in your mind, you could testify here on today. Somebody said, I quit, I signed my resignation letter, but somehow I'm still here on today. I heard a word from the Lord that said, keep going. Come on, somebody. I typed up the email, but I just didn't push send. God said, keep going. Jesus shows up to the place where Simon Peter abandoned his responsibility and calls him back to it. Shows up at the empty boat and uses the empty boat as a place of reference. Somebody can say on today, there are some things that God is calling me back to. And while Simon was cleaning the nets, Jesus' presence is used as a beacon of light even on this distant shore. You can tell your neighbor, tell him, I got to get back to some things. In November, we got to show the power of presence at the polls. Come on, somebody. You see, something happens when we continue to show up. We've experienced racism, but we keep showing up. We've experienced discrimination, but we keep showing up. Something happens when we refuse to be intimidated by the difficulties that we face. Something happens when our Attorney General holds everybody responsible and accountable. Tell Tell your neighbor, keep showing up, but get back in the boat. I'm leaving you here. We got to get back into position. And when we get back into position, when we get back into the boat that God has chosen our assignment to be in, he's got a word for us. Launch out into the deep. Somebody say, launch out into the deep. I know it's not as comfortable as the shore. I know it doesn't feel good and as comfortable as the sand under your feet. And I know you don't know how deep the waters really are. But wherever God sends you, the good news is God is going with you. I'm leaving you here. This story is not just about the boat, because when they went out, they were blessed and they had more fish that they can handle. See, the boat was Simon's possession, and being a fisherman was his profession. This text shows us what happens when you give God your profession and possession and let it be guided by his direction. God bless you.
Yes, indeed. Want to thank the Reverend Greg Merriweather, Senior Pastor at Calvary Baptist Church, Rockland County, New York, the Change Choir. Change Choir, under the direction of Minister Tyrone Richardson, and of course, accompanied by the band. Brothers and sisters, get on your feet, because we're about to bring to you the president and founder of the National Action Network, the Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton.
No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. No justice.
No peace.
What do we want?
Justice.
What do we want?
Justice.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
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 Shake hands with the person next to you. Tell them you love them. Last week I was at an event and an artist, very well-known artist, came to me and was talking. And he said, Reverend Al, I know when you were coming along, you were very close with James Brown. I said, yeah, James Brown kind of took me in when his son got killed, who was a member of my youth group. And I was with him since I was 18 years old until he died. I preached his funeral. He said, well, how did he deal when he had obstacles? He said, I'm going through a slump in my career, and my record is not in the top 3. It's only in 6. I told him he should be happy, but anyway. And I told him, I said, well, I remember James Brown told me a story that when he got started, he just come out of jail, met a gospel group. They turned into a R&B group, and it became James Brown and the Famous Flames. Some of you old timers, where Hardy go? Some of y'all used to know the Flames. And he cut a record called Please, Please, Please. And it went to the top of the charts. And then he cut Try Me and went on. He said then he had an idea that he wanted to record a live show at the Apollo Theater. He said they'd never been a live show at the Apollo Theater. And he went to the owners of King Records that he recorded for, and he told them that he wanted to do the show. They said, no, that won't sell. He said, but I want to do it. They said, no, they've already heard all your songs. How are we going to do that? He said, okay. He argued with them till he went and got his own money. And he paid for the orchestration, paid for the engineering, paid for the sound folks. And they recorded live at the Apollo. And it was #1 for 66 weeks. I said, sometimes you got to be rejected to get the best stuff to happen. But if you stand up and believe in what God gives you, your change will come. Your change will come. Your change. Your change will be there. Your change. I know it will.
listening to my sister, Senator Ramos, and you know, the first time she was in the New York Times, she said she was 15 years old. And she was part of the movement all of us were in against the killing of Amadou Diallo. And one of the things that it brought back to mind, I was thinking about this week, how I watched as some of the leading Republican legislators came from Washington, the Speaker of the House and all the others, to stand at the court down on Center Street for Donald Trump. I mean, you never would believe here conservatives, Bible thumping, preach all these fundamental conservative gospel, standing up with a man that is on trial for falsifying records about how they paid off a porn star. And I thought about how right on that same street, Senator Ramos, about 30 years ago, they had 5 young black and brown boys on trial. One of them's here this morning. Raise your hand, Kerry Weiss of the exonerated Central Park 5. They convicted those boys, and we stood out on the same street for 5 young men that were not guilty of a crime they went to jail for. But now, 30-some odd years later, Kerry Weiss and his 4 friends, one of them is in the city council. Kerry Weiss is speaking all over the country. And Donald Trump is on that same street on trial, facing felonies and facing ridicule. If you don't give up, your change will come. Your change will come. Your change. Don't you give up. Your change. I know it will. Your change. Change will. Oh, change will. National Action Network Change Choir, give them a big hand. Give them a big hand. Certainly we're happy to be with you another Saturday morning. Saturday Action Rally for you that are here at the House of Justice, 106 West 145th Street in the Village of Harlem. And for you that are listening live on 1190 WLIB AM in New York, and you that are watching us on Impact Television all over the country and other parts of the world, and you that are watching on other social medias, we're happy to be with you to give our report on where the action is. Give a hand to our presider, Attorney Michael Hardy. Give a hand to our inspirational speaker, Reverend Dr. Greg Merriweather. I like Merriweather when got that boat. I'm going to preach that somewhere. I like how he cast the net. I'm gonna give Merriweather credit the first time I do it anyway. By the time I do it the third time, it's all out. Give a hand to our musical director again and the band, Minister Tyrone Richardson. Give Chris and the band some. let me also say how honored we are to have Attorney Demario Solomon Simmons from Tulsa, Oklahoma. The work he's doing is absolutely exemplary, and we work with him closely. When Terrence Crutcher was killed by a policewoman in Tulsa, and I went out and led a couple of the marches, and we've been back and forth ever since with the Crutcher family. I met him. He's a stone solid brother, attorney, activist, and we're glad to work with him and glad that he is with us. And I want to recognize, you all know him, he's family, he's from our national board member, but beyond that, he has been in this movement with us for more than a quarter of a century. He don't like me to say it because it makes him feel old, but he's not near as old as I am, so I can say it. And that is the former Bronx Borough President, member of National Action Network Board, stand up Ruben Diaz Jr. And Ruben tells me he remembers me when I was in tracksuits. And I tell him I remember him when he had hair. Don't get smart up here. I come from Brooklyn. We could do the dozens all day long. And then I'm also happy and honored to have with us State Senator Jessica Ramos. Give her a hand. State Senator Ramos is one of our, she leads the Labor Committee in Albany. And one of the things, and we've been talking about things that's going on in the state, as well as in her district, Reverend Patrick Young and others, things in the district, and her and I talking about doing some things together around health care with him and jobs. I'm concerned about jobs. And we don't always have to agree with the same strategy, but we got to get to where we have to get to serve the people. And she has that spirit. Give her another hand. And somebody, I know a lot of media listens on Saturday morning, they rumors she may run for something else. We trying to get past this election. Y'all worry about next year. We got enough problems with the polls right now to be speculating on what somebody gonna do. But whatever they do, they can all come here and talk about it because we all trying to get to the same place. Isn't that right? Everybody but Tony. Stand up, Tony. Senator Romace, watch out for him on the way out. All right, have a seat. Let me thank first and foremost, let me announce that at 11:30, right after the broadcast, I'm going to New Jersey, to Irvington, New Jersey, to do the eulogy at the services for Dorothy Jean Vowse. Sister Vowse is the mother of the Mayor Tony Vowse, a good supporter of Nan and a friend of mine. And I want everybody in Irvington that's listening to us to join us there for the funeral services, because this is a real giant in our community. And what she has been about is important to all of us. And I was honored to be asked to do the funeral services. I also want to thank our chapter leader in Nashville, Tennessee, Cheryl Huff. They had their Black Diamond Gala the other night, and I didn't know what to expect, but I went. And I flew down, and they had over 300 people in our Mid-Tennessee chapter of National Action Network. Give Cheryl Huff and the Mid-Tennessee Tennessee chapter. Big hand. I also want to say that National Action Network stands with the family of Roger Fortson, and I heard our great Meriwether, Reverend Meriwether mention it. Here is a young man in his own house on FaceTime with his girlfriend. Someone, sheriff's office, knocks on the door. He doesn't respond. He bangs on the door again. He goes to the door, had his gun in his hand. He's an airman, works in the military, doesn't know who's banging on his door. Airman. He opens the door and the guy shoots him 6 times and kills him. They had the funeral yesterday in Atlanta. I just couldn't work out the travel from Nashville back here to do Morning Joe yesterday and then back to Atlanta. But I talked to his pastor. He was a member of New Birth Baptist Church in Atlanta with Reverend Dr. Jamal Harrison Bryant. And Reverend Bryant was doing the eulogy, asked me to come and speak, but I did a video, and of course the Attorney General of Black America, Ben Crump, is handling the case. I want us all to really raise the issue of justice for Roger Fortson. Here's a young man did the right thing. Didn't go to jail, went to the military. Stood up for his country. Question is whether his country will stand up for him. How do you shoot down a man in his house? And some of the critics say, well, you know, Reverend, he did have a gun in his hand. Well, I thought y'all believed in stand your ground in Florida. I thought y'all believed in right to carry in Florida. So the gun laws you want only apply to you. But if you're black and in the military, we don't have gun rights and stand your ground rights. I'm going to stand with the family of Roger Fortson. You can't play by 2 sets of rules. And one of the things, that's why I like Meriwether's message, some of us want to adjust to what is wrong rather than stand for what is right. Martin Luther King used to say that there are 2 types of leaders. There are thermometers that judge the temperature in the room. And then there are thermostats that change the temperature in the room. National Action Network comes out of the thermostat tradition. I don't call to see when I'm called, I don't come and see what the temperature is or what way I ought to adjust. I come to turn the heat up. If they say that I come to cause a problem, that's exactly what I call. To give a problem to those that are trying to exploit, oppress, and marginalize other people. I want to be your problem. I told them when I did George Floyd's funeral, people always talk about I got to Minneapolis, and first thing they say, well, here come Red Mal. Family called me. First of all, the folk talking, didn't nobody invite them in the first place. Family invited. I ain't never preached a funeral I wasn't invited. I didn't break in nobody's funeral. I didn't break in nobody's issues. When Ruben and I did Diallo in '99, I met with the Diallo family that asked us to fight. I never understood how people that impose themselves tell families who they want involved in their business. But I never never forget at George Floyd's funeral, I got to Minneapolis to do the first funeral. We ended up doing 3. Ended in Houston. Here come Red Mal. Guy on the news that night, one of these rented guys. You know how they get provocateurs just coming for publicity. So I got up at the eulogy and said, that's exactly what I come for. That's right, I come for publicity. Don't no family ask me to come keep a secret. Folk invite me because they want publicity. They want somebody that'll keep it out in the public eye. That is part of the job of activists, to make sure they never, ever have rest until we get justice. And now you better know what media you watching. Because with AI, you don't know who talking. I get stuff now, the first thing I do, I call Dominique or Ashley somebody and say, now is this real? Before I jump out here and get mad, because they got, phony stuff going on now. Is it real? But once you know it's real, like the tape on Roger, that's what we ought to be focused on. Guy called me early this morning. Some of the media people, Senator Ramos, know I would work out early. It's about 5:30 in the morning, I'm headed back upstairs. Lady called me from one of the papers. What do you think of Diddy's video? I said, I'm glad you called. Roger Fortston's video you need to watch, where the cops killed him. Since you in the video covering business today, I got a video for you. Some of y'all sitting around here now done watch Diddy's video and ain't watched Roger's video. We need to keep our eye on the prize. Let me tell you, we are in a dangerous period in American history. I don't know if y'all caught this or not. They revealed yesterday, front page New York Times, that one of the sitting Supreme Court judges, Samuel Alito, when after there was the January 6th, as they were going into that, after Trump had lost the election, as part of the protest and trying to lie and say that Biden stole the election, people were out protesting, turning their flags upside down. Is that right? And they were hanging upside down flags in front of their homes and their offices. Somebody exposed that the Supreme Court Justice, Samuel Alito, who's on the bench now, who's hearing cases about whether they should give immunity to Trump, who's hearing cases about January 6th. He had in front of his house a flag turned upside down. How can he be sitting on the bench when he believes that the election was stolen? How can he be objective? How can he be judicial? But when you stack the Supreme Court with right-wing zealots, this is no time for you to relax. Because if you understand who's on the court, you know why they've already in this court, in the last year, ended affirmative action, took out various elements of the Voting Rights Act, ended women's right to choose. When you got guys that would have upside down flags on their house, they're going to turn your rights upside down if we don't stand up and vote in people that put the right judges on the bench. People run around talking about, I ain't voting, what I'm going to vote for. Well, you didn't vote and we got Trump. I didn't agree to everything with Hillary, but Hillary wouldn't have put 3 people on the court that would have took away women's right to choose. Hillary wouldn't have put people on the court that would have ended affirmative action. Sometimes you deal with the hand you dealt. Some of y'all play cards, some of y'all play poker. I wasn't talking about you, Tony, I'm talking about. Sometimes you get a bad hand, but you still don't leave the game. Especially if they're gonna make decisions that we got to live by. If you can't get the best, you get the most you can. Your children are dependent on you standing up using what you got to get what we want. Every time I go in the South, and I think about both my parents was from the South. Father born in Florida, mother born in Alabama. I was born and raised in Brooklyn. I didn't know nothing about the South till they took me down there visiting. I took for granted things that we did in the North. But I would hear the stories from my parents. I was telling a reporter this week, I never will forget. My father had been an amateur boxer and later owned his own little construction company. Moved out to Hollis. We thought we was middle class. He left, we ended up back, my mother and sister and I, in the projects. But I never saw anybody stand up to my father because he was one that had been a boxer, well built. And we were driving every Christmas season. We would go south to visit my mother and her parents, well, her mother, her father had died, and her relatives, then drive over to Florida to visit his. And we were riding down south this particular Christmas season. And we said we wanted to get something to eat. We was hungry, me and my sister. I was about 9, maybe 8. My sister 3 years older than me. And my father pulled over into a restaurant and went to get us some hamburgers. And a little thin, no more than 120-pound white boy told my father, a black boy, you can't get nothing here. First time I ever saw racism in person. He said, we don't serve ends here. And I stood there looking at my father. I knowing my father gonna knock him out. And my father just dropped his head and told us, let's get back in the car. The scars of growing up looking at the humiliation and the emasculation of your own parents is things that never leave you. That's why I don't care what nobody say. We owe it to our children because my father and mother fought that I would not be humiliated. And I'm going to fight that my children and grandchildren will not be humiliated. Yesterday was the 70th anniversary of Brown versus the Board of Education. 70 years ago, Thurgood Marshall and others stood in the Supreme Court. It was the first time the Supreme Court affirmed the rights of blacks and browns and others. You got to remember now, coming out of slavery, 12 years of Reconstruction, and not only did they turn on Reconstruction, they went with Plessy versus Ferguson and took away the rights that was won in the Civil War. You still got some people in the South that's still fighting the Civil War. They don't think the Civil War is over. The first Supreme Court decision, check me if I'm right, Hardy, that was reversed the tradition of Plessy versus Ferguson was Brown versus Board of Education. For 100 years, blacks had no rights that anyone was bound to respect until Brown versus Board of Education. Now, watch this. That's why I keep telling y'all we operate in the lineage of movements. We come out of the King movement. I was a youth director for Reverend Jesse Jackson and Bill Jones. I was 13 years old. We continue that lineage. I always talk about that with Reverend Malcolm Byrd. And The point I'm saying is that if you look just at history, 54, Brown versus Board of Education. Next year, 55, Emmett Till happened. Very next year. Part of the reaction to Brown versus Board of Education was white backlash. Anger. My kids ain't going to school with them blacks. I don't care what they say. Anger. Emmett Till happened. Emmett Till tragedy. Later that same year, Rosa Parks sits in the front of the bus, 55. Boycott a year to 56. They win the Alabama law. They have to fight all the way to 64 to get the Civil Rights Act nationwide. In the middle of the movement, that's why some of y'all need to read. It took different angles. Dr. King started Southern Christian Leadership Conference. That's the stuff we do. But then students started their own movement called SNCC. And then others up north started their own movement, CORE. And then others were in the NACP and others was in the National Urban League. There's never been one style. But if we didn't get in each other's way, we would all get down the road. This is not the first generation that students was marching and old folks was marching. We are a continuation of what preceded us. And just because somebody don't have your style, don't make them a sellout. And just because somebody's more passionate than you, don't make them an extremist. It's that you don't understand with your ignorant intellectual self. You don't understand it all takes different lanes to go down the same highway. We had Dr. King and Fannie Lou Hamer and Stokely Carmichael and Malcolm X and Adam Clayton Powell in the Congress and Thurgood Marshall in the Supreme Court all at the same time. They all were in the 60s. So how do you get to the 21st century, 2024, and they say can't but one Negro talk at a time? We ain't never been that. But if you let your opposition dictate your strategy, you will repeat mistakes that they learned better than 70 years ago. That runs you right into Trump. Trump ran. First of all, not only did Trump never take a position in New York on any race case but the Central Park case. I want y'all to get this now. All these people talking about polls telling us that blacks gonna turn and go with Trump. Well, good, okay. Y'all watching me this morning. Trump, born, raised, Jackson Heights, Queens. Is that right? In '86, when they killed Michael Griffin, we heard nothing from Trump. Trump was born, raised in Jackson Estates right next to Howard Beach. Jamaica Estates, I'm sorry. Right near Howard Beach. Never heard nothing from Trump. Yusef Hawkins, killed in Bensonhurst. Never heard nothing from Trump. All the way through Diallo and you name it. Never heard nothing from Trump. The only time he stood up on a race-laced case was when he took out ads in the newspapers for them to be executed. The only time. Now, Trump had buildings all over the city, put his name on them, or built some. Name me the black-owned construction company that got a contract at any Trump building. Name me the black or Latino plumbing company. Everybody that has been on the stand at his trial is white. Hello? Because ain't no black folk been big enough in the Trump organization to even be subpoenaed to the trial. Everybody with juice is white. When I would go and meet and try to get him to do things at Trump Towers, going up the elevator at Trump Towers was like climbing Rocky Mountain. Higher up you got, the whiter it got. You know, I don't talk like that no more, but Jessica Ramos here, she got me all jacked up this morning. Trump entered into politics of using the political strategy of birtherism. That's how he got into politics. Remember now, he was a businessman, playboy, Great Gatsby. He rode into politics on the political philosophy of birtherism that Barack Obama was not a real American. He was born in Kenya. That's how he got into politics. He came in on race, stood against them on race. And now you run around talking about I may go with Trump. How you going with somebody that never went with you? The problem ain't Trump. The problem is your low self-esteem. That you would give somebody you want to be so accepted. You want to be so brought in that you would go with somebody that dehumanizes me and dehumanizes you because you have no self-respect for yourself. Biden ain't got to say it. Harris ain't got to say it. I'm going to say it. How can you respect yourself and go for anybody that never showed any respect for you? Well, you know, the Democrats, I don't trust. They ain't done everything I wanted. They ain't done everything I wanted. But that don't mean I'm going to go with somebody that ain't never done nothing I wanted. You married. You might have an argument with your wife. That don't mean you're going to go out and sleep with the first whore that's walking down the street. You either break up or stay married. But you don't go and degrade yourself. I was talking to some students in Atlanta and some in Texas. I got brothers running in Texas giving Ted Cruz a real race for the Senate. Colin Allround. He'll be on my show 5 o'clock today, MSNBC Politics Nation with Al Sharpton. He's going to be on my show today, and we're going to be talking about this stuff. But I was talking to some students, and they said to me, Reverend Al, you support us protest. I said, yes, nonviolent protests, I support it. Don't let them trick you into some violence, because then the violence becomes a distraction from your protest. And that I am one that believes in nonviolence, but even if you don't, it is strategically unsound. But I said, but one question I am confused about. They said, what? I said, all of y'all that are protesting, and rightfully so, when Biden and them come, how come I ain't seen no protests at a Trump rally? Ain't nobody closer to Netanyahu than Donald Trump. So why is it only on one side of the political landscape? We ought to be protesting both. Trump went out there in New Jersey, had 40,000 people, not one protest. So you need to explain to me how we are more angry at one side than the other if we're dealing with policy. Don't ever forget the Republicans, the same ones that went down to Center Street and stood with Trump this week, all dressed alike. The Trumpettes. They got the Rockettes at Radio City and the Trumpettes at Criminal Court. You can use that, Ramos. It's all right. We must be morally consistent. And we must play the game by one set of rules. That's why we come here every Saturday morning, to give you the real deal. You got a Bible, you got a Bible, Reverend Marshall. Go up to Isaiah 53 and 1. Isaiah 53 and 1 is in the Old Testament. Dominique tried to give you some water to stall. And then you, Bird, get ready. I want to go to Ezekiel 37 and 1, but let me go. I'm going to give you 2 scriptures there and I'm gone. You ready?
Not yet. One more second. Technology.
Yeah, okay. What he's going to get to is that when they talked about the coming of Christ in the Old Testament, and they talked about persecution very well, he talked about, the prophet said, who shall believe our report? Is that not in the book? Who shall believe? Did they believe the report? I come to tell you on Saturday mornings, you've been listening to the wrong report. Chapter 53 and 1. If you listen to the wrong report, people will tell you something and you will think it's right because of the report. What does it say?
Who has believed our message, and to whom has the arm of the Lord been revealed?
All right, who will believe our message? First thing we got to do is we've got to get out here in the churches, in the streets, in the social clubs, and let people believe our message. They need to understand that just in our lifetime, we went from no rights to civil rights, from no right to vote to voting rights, to all rights for all kind of people. And the only way we're going to save this nation, the only way we're going to win the right elections, go to Ezekiel. You got Ezekiel?
Ezekiel 37 and 1.
What does it say?
The hand of the Lord was on me.
Don't dramatize, just read.
Yes, sir. And he brought me out by the Spirit of the Lord.
And he brought me out by the Spirit of the Lord.
And set me in the middle of a valley.
And set, all right, he set me in the middle of the valley.
It was full of bones.
All right, now you're in the valley, full of bones. Go ahead. Go ahead.
He led me back and forth among them.
He led me back and forth among the bones.
And I saw a great many bones on the floor of the valley.
Saw many bones on the floor of the valley.
Bones that were dry.
Bones that were dry. Dry bones, Christian.
He asked me, son of man.
He asked me, son of man.
Can these bones live?
So they were dead, dry bones in the valley. Go ahead. And the question was, can these bones live?
Then he said to me.
Then he said to me.
Prophesy to these bones.
Say, wait a minute. He didn't say throw the bones out. He didn't say make the bones trash.
My.
He said prophesy to the bones. That make you look crazy, Meriwether, to be talking to some dead bones. But sometimes God will tell you to do stuff that don't make sense. Prophesy to the dry, dead bones.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Prophesy to these bones and say to them, dry bones, hear the word of the Lord.
I don't care that they dry. I don't care that they dead. Dry bones, hear the word of the Lord. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
This is what the sovereign Lord says to these bones. I will make breath into you, and you will come to life.
I will make breath into you, and you will come into life. One more verse.
I will attach tendons to you.
I'll attach tendons.
And make flesh come upon you.
And flesh come upon you.
And cover you with skin.
Cover you with skin.
I will put breath in you.
And breathe breath in you.
And you will come to life.
And you will come to life. Thank you very much. May God have the blessed reading of his word. Let me tell you what we got to do. I look at the U.S. today. I travel all over the country. And I see dry bones. Dead. Lost your vision. Dry bones. Lost your hope. Dry bones. Forgot where you come from and how you got there. Dry bones. Turning on each other rather than those that oppose you. Dry bones. But somewhere God said to me, speak to the bones. And if you speak to the bones, I'll connect the bones. The foot bone to the ankle bone. The ankle bone to the leg bone. The leg bone to the knee bone. The knee bone to the thigh bone. And I'll breathe breath once I connect these bones. Well, I tell you why I'm running around the country. I'm trying to connect dry bones. The black bones to the brown bones. The gay bones to the women bones. The poor bones to the middle class. If we can connect these bones, God will breathe breath. I don't care how much money they got. God will bring breath if we bring the connection of these dry bones. It's connecting time. It's connecting time. It's connecting time. You just got one piece, but it need to be connected. You got another piece, but it need to be connected. But if we can connect these bones, God will be for us. And if God be for us, if God be for us, if God be for us, it's more than the whole world against us. Beams of heaven, as I go through this wilderness below. Guide my feet.
Beams of heaven, for now as I go through the wilderness below, guide my feet in peaceful way. Turn my midnight into days when in the darkness I would grow. Faith always sees a star of hope, and soon from all life's griefs and dangers I shall be free someday. Harder yet may seem the fight right may often yield to right. Wickedness a while may reign. Satan's cause may seem to gain. There is a God who rules above with hand of power and heart of love. If I'm right, he'll fight my battle. I shall have
Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Sing it like you mean it. Sing it like you mean it. Sing it like you mean it. We want justice. We want freedom. Got to have justice. I'm open the doors of the movement. There may be someone that never joined National Action Network. You hear us on the radio, you watched our television show, but you never became a member of the organization. If you're here today and never joined, all you got to do is come right down the aisle if you're here in the auditorium, either side, and come to me and let us sign you up. You that are watching on Impact or you that are listening on radio, you can go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and join right now online, www.nationalactionnetwork.net. But come on, if you're here and not a member, come on down to me and let's sign you up this morning. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Sing it like you mean it. Sing it like you mean it. Sing it like you mean it. One more time, y'all. One more time, y'all. One more time, y'all. All right. Everybody singing. Everybody sing. Everybody singing. All right. I'm glad that Carmela, Carmela's our dancer. I'm glad she showed up because she wasn't here the first verse. I was about to take my jacket off and do the dance myself. I had Ruben Diaz up here to hold my jacket. I was getting ready to bust loose a step. Don't be late, Carmela. I get out here to the floor. We have a different kind of rally if I start dancing. No. You ain't never seen James Brown dance with nobody else. I don't do duets. I do solos. All right. Let me say to you that are listening on the air that want to join or contribute to National Action Network, go to nationalactionnetwork.net. And as we get ready to go off the air, don't forget 5 o'clock today and tomorrow, Politics Nation with Al Sharpton live on MSNBC. And we're going to deal with all these issues. And I try to say on my show and have people on and challenge what others won't say, because I think that the needs of the community is above what a lot of other people. I don't go on to entertain. I was Al Sharpton before I got there. I go in to inform and hopefully get people the right information, and they can do what they want with the information. I want to also stress, I got about 3 minutes left on the air. I also want to stress that every Thursday, there is the DEI march and picket in front of Bill Ackman's office in Midtown Manhattan. Big Bill Ackman was one of the billionaires that was pressuring Harvard to fire Dr. Claudine Gay, and used it after they succeeded in that. Used that to springboard to end DEI programs. What is DEI for you in Radio Land that don't know? It's diversity, equity, and inclusion. These programs were set up to assure that blacks and Latinos and Asians and women and gays could get contracts and get jobs and be on the boards. With eliminating DEI, it means they can go back to all white male boards, white male contractors. This is a outgrowth of the Supreme Court killing affirmative action. We should not be silent as they chip away. During in the 20th week, Minister Minister Ron McHenry, Brother Christian, have been leading it, and many of you here go, and many of you listen to Radio Land, have been out there every week. I've seen young people, I've seen old people on walkers when I've gone. We got to keep the pressure on. We got to keep the pressure on. And I'm telling you how effective it is. Monday before last, I went to the Met Gala. God said to me, one of the billionaire type, Reverend Al, I ain't never seen you at the Met Gala. I said, that's all right, I ain't never seen you at the House of Justice. So we both visiting. But he said, man, y'all all over my friend Bill Ackman. They take note when we act. You ain't got to be on the news every night. Act. If you act, there is a reaction. But you keep wanting them to react to you grumbling at home. You got to get out and act, and they will have to react and say, wait a minute, we're not getting away with this. You cannot just be sitting home complaining. You got to be active. I tell people on my radio show every day, I am tired of radio revolutionaries. call in the show and talk big smack and don't do nothing. I'm mad at this, I'm mad at that, I'm doing this, they should do this, da-da-da. You hang up the phone, go back to your cubicle at the job, and don't nobody know it was just you cussing everybody out on radio. A radio revolutionary. We ought to do this, we ought to do that. Well, what are you doing? What have you been involved in? DeMario, I know you go through it in Oklahoma. I mean, just folk can talk all the stuff in the world and ain't gonna do nothing. I talk all the time, Senator Ramos, about a friend of mine. I don't believe in voting. I don't believe in the government. I believe we need to just take the government down to the ground. I'm a revolutionary. We used to argue back and forth. We went to Tilton High School together. And he'd wear all the right stuff and had the right buttons and revolution. I ran into him about 6 months ago, both of us in our late 60s. I said, how you doing, man? He still had on some of the old garb. Man, I'm doing all right. I see you on television, corporate TV. I said, yep. I said, I'm doing the same thing. Yeah, I'll give you that. I don't agree with it, but I'll give you that. And we talked and argued. I said, you still fighting the revolution? Yep, I'm going to fight the revolution. I said, all right, well. And he said, man, I can't keep talking. I got to go pick up my Social Security check. I said, I thought you don't believe in government. Oh, man, leave me alone. All these retirement Social Security revolutionaries. You can use that, Reuben. All right, let's raise our offering. I need everybody to give to the best of their ability. I need everybody to give to the best of their ability. I need, okay, wait a minute, I didn't call y'all yet, y'all. All right, I need about 10 people. I need about 10 people to give $100 or more. Wait a minute. Attorney from Oklahoma, DeMario Solomon Simmons, is starting with $500. I'm sorry. I lowballed him. He started with $2,500. $2,500. Men's Auxiliary, $100. Winston Gilchrist, $100. Guardians, $100. Well, y'all give DeMario a bigger hand. That was a $1,000 hand. I said $2,500. Nancy Crawford, $100. Come on. Oh, Lord. The state senator, that's her money now, not state money. $100. Senator Ramos. Mike McEwen, $100. Ruben Diaz, $100. Greg Merriweather, $100. Don Jones, $100. Don, you got on a sparkling $500 outfit. You must be going to the party that I got to go to the funeral, you going to the party. 50s. Is that Arthur? Oh, Arthur don't walk while I'm taking an offering. You almost had to pay me $50. David, now what is that? He got on his G.I. Joe colors today. Sister Teresa, $50. Brother Mallory, $50. David got on his combat colors. He ready for war. All right, Minister Carolyn is coming with her $50. All right, give her a hand always.